Hey guys, so today I thought I would do a full face of clean beauty. I have recently hauled here and there pretty much a full face of beauty that is considered clean. It has clean ingredients. I am not personally an ingredient junkie, and I generally use, I think, non-clean beauty, and I don't necessarily have a bad reaction to it. But there are a lot of makeup brands out there that tout themselves as clean beauty. They don't include certain ingredients. And again, I'm not an ingredient junkie, and I don't, I'm not educated on what makes a brand clean beauty versus non-clean beauty. But I think there are some ingredients that clean beauty brands typically stay away from. Anyway, I know many of you are very, very interested in clean beauty brands, so I thought that this could be fun to do a full face of it, or pretty much a full face of it. I'm sure I'm missing things like I don't think I have an eyebrow product. Anyway, I do have the newish Super Serum Skin Tint foundation from ILIA, so we'll be trying that. I also have a loose highlighter powder from RMS Beauty. I have something from Tower 28. This is lip gloss. Kier Weiss. I purchased a cream blush during the Beautylish gift card event. I have something from Rowan's, a few things from Kosas Beauty, but we're going to start off actually with Victoria Beckham's primer. And Victoria Beckham is actually a clean beauty brand. I think it's something that's overlooked quite a bit because she's, I think probably more considered a luxury brand, but she is actually a clean beauty brand. So I figured I'd start out with her primer. It's what I have normally been doing these past few months. I love this primer so much. And so it's generally been my first step. Just put that on all over. And before we go any further, I'm going to put on some lip balm. I have this tinted lip balm from Lila B. This is B Demure. And it's tinted, but just barely. It has this little peachy tint to it. But I like these tinted lip balms. Well, I love Lila B, I should just say that. But I really like these tinted lip balms from her. All right, we'll let all of that soak in. And let's talk about this ILIA Super Serum Skin Tint. So I have it in the shade ST4 Formosa, and it has an SPF 40 sunscreen. It's hydrating. It has natural protection. There's niacinamide, squalane, and hyaluronic acid in here. So I remember, and the sunscreen is zinc oxide. So it is a physical sunscreen, which is nice. And I remember when I hauled this, I swatched a little bit of it on the back of my hand, and I was trying to figure out if it was going to be a good match for my skin tone. And the foundation, after it dried and I gave it a few minutes, it actually ended up matching my skin tone. And someone commented that it has that sort of, quote unquote technology in there that kind of is skin tone matching. So I got really, really excited about that because I think that's super, super cool. But it says to shake well, so I'm doing that. And this is the bottle, by the way, if you haven't seen this already. It has a really nice glass, matte white bottle, and then it has a little dropper applicator there. It is 1 fluid ounce. And as usual, I can't remember the prices for everything, so I will leave all the information down below in my description box if you're interested in checking that out. So I am going to, I think I'm going to try putting this on with my fingers because it does have a thinner consistency. But here is the dropper, and I'm just going to drop a little bit on the back of my hand, and you can kind of see it running down. Not super fast, but it is on the thinner side. And well, I'm gonna need more than that. So let me drop a few more here. It has an unusual, scent. I'm gonna guess, again, because this is a clean beauty brand, I'm sure there's no fragrance in here or anything like that. And so we're just kind of smelling the ingredients. And I have noticed if there's squalane listed as an ingredient, and if there's no fragrance, it always smells a little funky. A little funky. I have to say though, it's not overbearing. I don't smell it now that my hands aren't kind of moving all around. I don't really smell it. But this has an incredible texture. I do know squalane is really nice for the skin. Oh, it's balling up a little bit. I probably put it on too quickly after my primer. Let me kind of wipe off those balls there. I'm gonna let this sit on my skin for a little bit and then try and work it in again. So even though the texture of this foundation is on the thinner side, you guys saw it kind of running down the back of my hand, it's not watery. And I think it's the squalane. Squalane is a very kind of, it's not gel. It's a little bit thinner than gel, but it has a thicker, it's kind of slimy, I guess you could say. Kind of has like a thicker, slimy consistency. And I think that is what gives this particular foundation its like slip and this radiance that you see. I think that's kind of like the squalane. I also noticed the third ingredient here is a shea butter ethyl esters, and shea butter is a very rich kind of emollient ingredient also. So I have very, very dry skin, so I'm very, very happy with that. If you have oilier skin, I think the squalane is a great ingredient for that too, but I'm not sure about the shea butter. The shea butter may be a little bit rich if you have oily skin. All right, so I've let this sit on my skin probably about 5 minutes now. I am going to drop a little bit more onto the back of my hand and kind of finish my application, because this is just a very, very light layer, and you can see that the coverage is really light. I mean, you can still see all of my freckles and the discoloration around my eyes. So I am going to actually try using a brush this time. I'm going to pick up some of the product and just kind of pounce it down. I'm really trying to avoid any kind of balling up. All right, so there are two very light layers of this foundation down. I prefer like a lighter, light medium kind of coverage to my foundation. I really don't like anything too heavy. So this is great for me. I think I am going to let this kind of sit and see if we can build it, just out of curiosity, but I am still a little paranoid about the balling. So I'm just gonna sit here and kind of let it all soak in before we go in with yet another layer. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right, it's actually been longer than 5 minutes. It's been about 6 minutes. It's been about 6 minutes. And this foundation is so interesting because it really does kind of like just color match to you. And I do feel like the coverage, maybe because of the color matching, the coverage looks a little bit more. It looks a little bit smoother. I don't want to say that all of a sudden I have like a medium coverage foundation, but it's I don't know, it looks like it's evened out my skin tone a little bit more. But I'm going to add another like light layer, just to kind of play around and see what happens. And then I'm going to let that sit for another 5 minutes, because I think it is very interesting how this foundation kind of transforms as it, I guess, heats up, or as it just kind of like melds with your skin, or as it soaks in. It's really interesting. So I'm going to shake this up again, drop like a dime size amount, and again, just going to add a little bit. Balling up a little bit down here still, so I'm just gonna kind of pat the foundation down, and then when it dries I'll kind of wipe the little balls away, but not too bad, not too bad. All right, so another light layer down. I do feel like the coverage is a little bit more. Again, I'm gonna let this kind of sink and soak in and meld with my skin, and I will be back in another 5 minutes. All right, another 5 minutes have passed, and again, I feel like that layer has, I don't know, like really like kind of evened out, and it's this foundation, sorry, I'm like, Michelle, spit it out. This foundation is very, very dry skin friendly. It's, there's a lot of tack to it. I don't want to say that my skin feels moisturized, because I actually feel like everything is kind of just sitting on top of my skin instead of it actually soaking in. And, you know, you guys can definitely see it. That radiance is like pretty crazy. And I do think the coverage is buildable. I do think it does this really interesting thing where I feel like it does like adapt to your skin, your skin tone and everything. And I did have to like wipe away some balls here. I just take a dry like paper towel and I just kind of like flick them away, and very lightly, and it doesn't seem to disturb anything underneath. Oh, actually there's one, there's one actually on the tip of my nose here. All right, so that is the foundation. I do want to move on to this concealer. So Kosas sent me these concealers, and this is their, I know there's a name to it, their Revealer Super Creamy and Brightening Concealer. And they sent me 3 shades, and I think the lightest shade they sent me may be too deep. So they sent me 5.5, 6, and 7. So I'm actually going to set 6 and 7 aside here, and I'm going to open up 5.5. So here is 5.5. Here's the packaging. Isn't that cute? Let's just do a little swatch. Oh, it's a doe foot applicator. And there is the swatch of 5.5. So I think it may work. It's definitely not going to be a brightening concealer for me, but it may do a nice job concealing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dab a few underneath my eyes. I can't quite make out the tone of this concealer. It's like, at first I thought it was kind of yellowy, but now it's looking really kind of, I don't know, it's not peach. I guess maybe it does have like kind of a strong like yellow undertone. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, I don't think this shade is quite right for me, but let's get a sense of the coverage here and the formula. It feels very, very creamy. It's not one of those like tacky concealers. Yeah, I think this 5.5 is a little deep for me. But I'm gonna go ahead and just apply it to the other side just so we're evened out. But I think I'm gonna have to work that down a little bit because I think you can see kind of like where it starts and ends. I'm just bringing it down onto my cheeks here just to kind of blend it in a little bit better. In terms of the actual formula, it's very, very creamy. In fact, it feels like and is looking like almost like an eye cream. I feel like it kind of like plumped up my fine lines. Oh, isn't that nice? And it is sitting on top of this ILIA nicely. I'm noticing I still have some balled up bits of the ILIA. Wow, I have to say I'm really impressed with this concealer. Any concealer that's like this emollient generally just starts to crease and move immediately, but this has not done that. All right, I don't actually have any new Clean Beauty powders, and actually the only powder I have is this Flawless Finish powder foundation from Lila B. So it's a little bit, it has a little bit more coverage than I want, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it anyway. I think maybe it'll help kind of like even out this concealer tone, which is a little bit off. We'll just see what happens. So I'm gonna use my Hourglass powder brush. Oh, and I have this in the shade Be Natural. All right, so I just pounced like a very light layer of that. I think it brought the radiance down a little bit, which I think is great. This foundation it's a very juicy foundation, but I think actually that powder foundation actually worked really, really well. Great. All right, so that was the Lila B foundation powder. All right, and for bronzer, I am going to use my Westman Atelier Super Loaded Tinted Highlight in Peau de Soleil. And this is like a creamed powder kind of product. And I've had luck using this over powder, and I really put down a very like kind of light layers. So I'm not too worried about this product kind of like moving any of the powder. So I'm gonna use my Westman Atelier blender brush. I believe this brush was designed to perfectly kind of like fit right into this compact. So I'm just going to swirl the brush in here. I'm just gonna stamp this where I want a little bit of this rich bronzy color. Such a beautiful glow. And even though this has like a bronzy tone to it, it definitely has the glow of like a highlight, as its name would suggest, the Super Loaded Tinted Highlight. All right, next up, I purchased this Kjaer Weis cream blush in the shade Above and Beyond. This shade, when I got it, I was like, oh, it's even more beautiful in person than it looked online. It's just this really, really bright coral color. And Kjaer Weis is a 100% organic beauty brand, which I think is even one step further, like deeper into the clean beauty world. Not all clean beauty brands use organic products, but she uses organic products, and she's really into sustainability too. Like all of her packaging is refillable, so you can pop out this blush color and put in a different one if you want. So I think I'm just gonna use my finger. I'm gonna take my middle finger and just grab a bit, tap it right onto my cheeks here. And I remember I did a full face of Kjaer Weis. I had never used her products before. And so many of you in the comment section just couldn't like say enough good things about her cream blush, and I had not purchased any for cream blush at that time. So I picked one up in Desired Glow. Yeah, this is the first cream blush that I got from Kosas. So this is a much more kind of natural color. But I really wanted something that was bright, that really kind of like spoke to me for the spring, summer. So that's why I picked up this color, and I do love her cream blush formula. It goes on so beautifully, so easily, and for a cream blush, it really stays put. It stays pigmented like all day. That's generally, I want to say, the issue that I have with like clean beauty or organic beauty brands is that they don't have a lot of longevity on the skin, but I have not found that to be an issue with her cream blushes and a lot of her products. Actually, I really am a big fan of the Kosas line. All right, let's move on to highlight. So I purchased this RMS Beauty Living Glow Face and Body Powder. I had no idea how glowy it was. I thought it was going to be like maybe like a finishing powder or kind of like a shimmery kind of setting powder. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I've heard very, very good things about RMS Beauty powders. And wow, this is definitely a highlight. It is much, much more shimmery than I thought. And not complaining at all. It's just very, very different from what I expected. Here is the packaging. Isn't that beautiful? I just love this lucite packaging. And so I remember when I took this out of the box for the first time, I was like, oh, oh, that's glowy. So let's get some of this on. And it even comes with a puff, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna need something a little bit more focused for this. So here is the powder. Look at that sheen. And you know, it could be a little bit too deep for my skin tone, but we'll see. You know what? I think I'm just gonna use what I have here on my finger and just kind of tap that, tap that in. It's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit too deep for my skin tone, but let's see if we can kind of make this work. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I think I can make it work. I don't think that it looks necessarily like a bright light bulb is shining on me, but the shimmer of it is so pretty. It's very, very satiny. I think I'm gonna put some right here. I have to say, I am loving the way my complexion looks between the ILIA, the Kosas concealer, the Lila B foundation, and then the Westman Atelier Peau de Soleil. I'm just loving the way like my skin is looking, my complexion is looking. It's looking really like healthy and smooth and like radiant, but not oily, not sweaty. It just looks, I don't know, I feel like I look really, really healthy. I'm actually gonna go back to this Westman Atelier brush and just kind of stamp over that RMS powder, only because I have like a teensy bit of that Peau de Soleil on here, and I think it's actually a nice match to this powder. And look, and with all that fussing, do you still see that cream blush is still there? Like it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't move. I love it. All right, so that's the RMS, the Living Glow Face and Body Powder. I'm not sure that it would work for you if you're any lighter than me. I think I barely eke by being able to use it. Maybe Rosemary Swift, who's the owner of RMS Beauty, maybe she'll come out with like a lighter shade, maybe like a little bit more of a champagne shade, because she does highlights really, really beautifully. She has those cream highlights, those living luminizers. Those are pretty. All right, so let's move on to eyes. Again, I don't have any clean beauty eyebrow products. At least I don't think so. So I just whipped out my Hourglass. I know they're vegan and they're cruelty-free. I don't know if they're actually clean beauty, but I thought, why not? This is like the closest thing that I have. So I'm just gonna use their Arch brow pencil, which I really enjoy, and I have it in the shade Soft Brunette. All right, and now for the new Rowan eyeshadow palette in 1111, and I am really excited to give this a shot. I have the other Rowan quads, and they're just, oh, they're so beautiful. They're quads basically of like topper shades, and they have this like cream to powder formula. Some of the other formulas are creamier than others, some are a little bit more glittery than others, but they're all just so much fun, and I really like this kind of like warm, rosy color story. So I think I'm gonna focus mainly on these two colors and maybe use this as a topper. Yep, so I'm gonna start by using this shade right here. I'm going to use my Sonia G Worker 2 brush, and I wonder if I should just use my finger. I hate using my finger only because I just don't feel like I can ever get it exactly where I want it. So, all right, let's try the brush first, and if that doesn't work as well, then I'll move to the finger. All right, let's try this. Well, it's definitely taking a bit of effort just to get the littlest bit of this eyeshadow down. So I'm gonna use my finger. I'm gonna go in with my middle finger here. Oh yeah, much better payoff. And I guess I'll just try and be careful not to get it everywhere. That is so beautiful. Wow, I'm in love with that shade. It's really glittery, but I still kind of consider it like a very kind of like daytime, everyday eyeshadow, probably because of the shade. It's a very soft, kind of like dusty rose, and then the glitters in there are kind of like a rose gold. Oh, gorgeous. All right, let me go into this shade right up here, the more gray taupey shade. Tap this on the outer corner here. That's a beautiful soft shade also. That's pretty for just like a little bit of dimension there. And not bad. That was a lot easier with my finger than I thought. I usually am so bad at applying shadow with my fingers, but I think that worked out nicely. I think just for the heck of it, I'm gonna go into this shade. I don't know if you guys can see, but in the pan, it looks chunkier than the rest of these. I think they suggested, of course, using your finger with this, but really kind of like getting in there. And you pick up these like foiled pieces, basically. So I'm just going to tap that on to the center of my lid. And once I get those like flakes down onto my lid, I can kind of press and smear them on, and you get this really cool, like foiled effect. Really pretty shadows, and I love the colors. This could be my favorite color story from her so far. This one I'm a sucker for. This is amazing. So I have to line my eyes and throw on a bit of mascara. I'm gonna dig through my collection one more time. I didn't think I have any clean beauty brands for either of those, but I'm gonna look one more time. I'll be right back. All right, I was able to find some stuff. So I have an ILIA Mascara. Forgot about this. I think I got this from Sephora. It's like a little deluxe sample size. And I do have this Kier Weiss eye pencil in black. This I think was like a gift with purchase, I don't know, maybe from Neiman Marcus or Saks. And I thought this pencil was okay. This definitely wasn't my favorite, especially not from her line. She has so many amazing things. It was okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and use it today. And I'm going to tight line and add some to my waterline. So I don't know if you guys can tell, it's just not very black. It's a very like soft, black color, and I like my eye pencils to have a little bit more impact, but it's okay. It's more of like a gray color, like a dark gray color. All right, just curled my eyelashes. I'm gonna throw on this ILIA mascara. It does have a plastic bristle brush, and if I'm not careful with these, I feel like I'm hurting myself, like I'm poking myself in the eye with these, but I do think it actually gets mascara on my lashes better than natural hair. I used to feel the other way, and now, I don't know, I guess it kind of depends on the mascara formula too. This mascara does some nice like separating, it does some nice lengthening, pretty decent for my curl. So yeah, so far so good. Let's move on to lips. I am so excited for this product. I've been hearing such good things about this brand, Tower 28. I have the Shine On Lip Jelly in the shade Fire. I hauled this for you guys, and so many of you, I think, were just as excited as I was when I saw this color, because it's like an orange gloss. Doesn't that look amazing? So Tower 28 is, I think, based out of California, and Tower 28 is named after like a lifeguard stand on the beach, maybe Santa Monica Beach. Anyway, they are non-toxic, fragrance-free, allergy-tested, vegan, and cruelty-free. So I have been so excited to try this, but I wanted to try it with you guys. So here is the applicator, basic doe foot applicator. Ooh, this texture is nice. It's a little bit lighter than the lip glosses that I've been using, a little bit more oily. Ooh, but I love that kind of shine where it's not like super high gloss. It looks like it's a little bit of like a satin sheen. I really like this. And even though there's no fragrance in this, it doesn't like smell bad or anything. It doesn't smell chemically or anything like that. The third ingredient here is apricot kernel oil, which is like one of my favorite oils. I just love the way it feels. And it like sits on my skin just long enough and then it starts to absorb and it's so good. I think I want to get more shades of this. The Sephora VIB sale is coming up, so I think I definitely want to try. There was one that I had in my cart that I took out. It was kind of like a clear color, but it had like iridescent glitters in there. I think I definitely want to try that. All right, so that is it for this video. I really enjoyed, I think, everything that I put on. Even this concealer that I think is the wrong tone for me, I think it worked out fine. I think it worked out beautifully. I really love the way my skin looks. This foundation is such an interesting foundation. And in fact, I'm gonna leave a pinned comment down below, just letting you know how this wore, because it doesn't feel like any other foundation I've ever tried, and it definitely doesn't behave like any other foundation I've ever tried. It's very, very unique. So I will leave a pinned comment on how this wore, how everything wore, basically. I know many of you have asked me in the past about the Rowan eyeshadows, which I love, you know, how they wear, if there's a lot of fallout over the course of the day, if they start to crease or anything like that. So I will keep you abreast of all of these products that I tried today. And that's it. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.